Okay. So what is our date today? Today is Thursday, November 19th, and I'm going to talk about our final portfolio. So the final portfolio is going to be due in 2 weeks on Thursday, and it's due at 5 o'clock. So come to class, with it already uploaded, or if you're going to do a printed portfolio, I want you guys to bring it to class to present. And then we will do the presentations in class the night of the 3rd, and then that's it. And then we'll be done. Okay. So in this week's module, you guys are going to find the final portfolio project link here. When you click on it, it's going to open up to this page, and this guy right here clicks to take you to information about the assignment. What I do have on this page is a breakdown of how I'm grading the assignment. It's really specific. It tells you in points what each of those different things provides you with. So you have your organization of content. How easy is your portfolio to navigate? How clear is it to somebody what they need to do to click on to get through? Okay. Make sure that your pages are organized easily, that you have things organized in a way that's easy for the user to use. Introduction. Okay, you're going to draw the viewer in with some sort of design introduction. If you want to even have like a table of contents page or have a page that explains your portfolio, you're welcome to do that. And then you need to have content that keeps your viewer interested throughout. So if you're going to be highlighting your projects, set it up in a way that's going to be really interesting as people are flipping through the pages or clicking through. And then you need to have an outcome or a summation. How do people understand each of those pages, and then how do they know when they've completely gone through the entire interactive portfolio or not? Consistent design theme. So I want you to have an original concept for your portfolio. We talked about a theme. Maybe it's something that you find has been running through your work, or it's a style, or it's a color palette. Kelly, yours is a perfect example. You've done a lot of nautical theme and you've done a lot of illustration. So maybe you do a portfolio that has those elements tied in. But no matter what, it doesn't have to be something that comes from your work. It could be something completely distinct. So I've had students who their passion is photography, and they've been taking a lot of really great photography throughout the course of the semester, and they want to incorporate that. So maybe they have a consistent theme of some sort of still life or black and white photography or something, kind of tying all those pages together. And you're going to want to have that design theme consistent, and then you're going to want to have the layout consistent as well. So that's an additional 10 points to make sure that page to page you have consistency, so the reader or the viewer knows what to expect when they come to the different pages. It doesn't always have to be the exact same layout. You don't always have to have the picture on the left side and information on the right, yada, yada, yada. You can mix it up a little bit, but you want to have some sort of consistency enough so that the viewer or the reader has the ability to make their way through the site or through your portfolio. Meaningful content. So I want you guys to think of the content in terms of how appropriate it is for the scope of your work. I want it to be authentic to you, and I want you to display an appropriate breadth of work. So if you have been consistent with all of your major studio projects in class, make sure that you're going to showcase every single one of those, and that your theme and the design and the content is all going to be really authentic to who you are. So some students like to do an image of their work, and then they like to have a little sidebar with some explanation about the assignment and their process. And the process is a really important part to capture. So if you wanted to showcase your thumbnail sketches, or you want to talk about your process, things that you grew and learned from each assignment, that's totally up to you. Then you're going to have a professional presentation. Okay? You need to make sure that your buttons are accurate, that everything works, that spelling is correct, that the links are correct. If those things don't work, all your professionalism kind of dissipates. It's like if you turn in a resume to a job that you want to go and apply for, and you have a ton of misspellings, that's going to become representative of you as a candidate. Just like missing links and issues with your portfolio become representative of your entire portfolio project. So really think about professional presentation. So that includes spell check, the correct compilation of images, that you're linking to images correctly. If you embed any sound, if you embed any buttons, make sure everything works. And then you also need to make sure that you're going to upload the correct file format. So if you do a printed portfolio, you need to include a PDF of your layout for the entire portfolio. Right, so you're going to design the cover and all these internal pages. And then additionally, you have to create a physical portfolio of that, bind it up, make a cover, however you're going to do that. And then you're going to take pictures of that and add it also to your PDF. So I can see a big picture portfolio as a PDF that I can grade. Because I don't want to take your physical portfolios home. I want to be able to have something that I can grade. If you do an interactive portfolio in InDesign, you need to make sure that you're going to upload the PDF, the SWF files, and the HTML files. If you have any embedded sound or video, you have to make sure that you're going to send those to me as well. So when you export out your interactive portfolio, it should give you a file with everything, just like how you have your links when you do a package. So it should give you everything that you need so I can view it correctly from home, okay? And then if you're going to do a WordPress site or you want to do something else, you need to provide me with a link that works, and you need to make sure that it works so that I can get to it and open it and that it doesn't crash my computer. Okay. So we talked a little bit about this last week, but I want you guys to really think about what you're passionate about. Think about the design elements that you really enjoyed working on this semester. If you really liked working in Photoshop or Illustrator, or maybe there's a couple little design elements that you created from different pieces, think about how you can incorporate those into your portfolio. I really want it to be something that you guys feel great about and that you also enjoy working on. So Julius, are you going to do a WordPress? Okay. So if you do WordPress, I want you to think about designing those banners that I see here on this template. Yeah. Making sure that those banners are well designed and that you're creating really interesting content that will link to somebody to go look at your final piece. Okay. All right. So the purpose of the portfolio is to present your work in its best light. I would like you to consider the portfolio as something you would email to a potential client or a job. It needs to be self-explanatory so the viewer, after opening the file, has something happen so they automatically view it, or instructions on how to view it, thus the interactivity. Consider how you make your portfolio so extraordinary that you will stand out from the crowd and get noticed. Okay. So also part of presenting your portfolio work in its best light is that if you have an assignment that you don't really love that you did, this is an opportunity to go back and make some tweaks. So you are really presenting your final work in the best light possible. Okay? And if you do that, I take notice if you've made any edits to your work. Okay, so up here in the corner, you have examples of interactive portfolios, and you have video tutorials. And we've gone over this in class. Here are all the different video tutorials. This is the same set of information from Story with Line. And then we also have this interactive portfolio sample area. So let's click on one of these. Let's see. So a lot of these portfolios have been set up to give the illusion of a website, and it's really up to you if you want to do it like this, but you can be as creative as you want, okay? So here's the button for home, and you know that's a home button. When you roll over, you can see a change in the text, and that's how you know it's clickable. Okay? And then it gives you instructions here. Click on a thumbnail below, click an image to enlarge. So these are buttons that are controlling a multi-state object. Okay? It could also be set up where this is actually individual pages that are clicking through with like this background that looks consistent. So you actually have an opportunity to embed your animation if it is something that you want to include. You don't have to include your animation if you didn't do something that you want. Some people just did the rocket ship. If you want to embed it in, you'll need to export it as a file type that's suitable for InDesign. So I believe it's an MP4 and some other video type allows you to embed it into the actual pages. And then this student has a little bit about them. Also, your story with line. If your story with line has interactivity, you can also embed it in. Or your other option is to do like some small still shots and show the interaction somehow. Okay, so it's up to you how you do that. This is an example of a student portfolio that's using a lot of typography with all this different animation. And then these all become navigation. So this is the digital drawing, so it's the triptych, so they're showing, showing you 3 different versions. Oh, here's the final product, yep. Next program. Okay, time to start a line. You can see they just did like a oh look, see the story, I think. There we go. So then you can click through to see the entire story. Oh, yes, I want some sushi. That sounds so good. Next project. So you can see how this, as I'm clicking through, the buttons down at the bottom are like shifting as I'm clicking. So here it's here, and then the next project moves here. Okay, so that becomes a little bit confusing as the user. That's why it's really important to be consistent with how you have everything set up. 2-page layout, real to abstract, before, after. Okay, go back home. Hi guys. All right, let's look at this one. Click on the black or a shade of gray. That's freaky. Okay, or a shade of gray. All right. You can see as you click through. So you guys can be as clever with how people interact with your portfolio as you choose. Home takes you back to the home. Contact takes you here. And about takes you here. This is about all of the different projects. So it's up to you how you want to handle it. You don't have to put in about the project for everyone, but I find that a lot of students like to add it in, and they have their opportunity to explain their process, explain why they chose what they did. Okay. All right, I'll show you guys one more.
So what kind of writing is required?
None, really. You're going to have directions to make sure people are clicking through. You're going to have to make sure that you have some sort of title to your pieces so that people know that they've seen it already as they're clicking through the different links. If you want to include your process or you want to include information about the assignment, you can. And I do think it adds a nice touch, but I'm not going to require you to add an objective or to write about your process or do some sort of narration. It's really up to you. I want it to fit in with your theme. So you can see how there's a nice consistency with this design, even though the elements on the pages are changing a little bit. So it's this grungy urban graffiti look. And then every page has an objective. The logo stays up on top. You have a link for the design process. okay, for every single one of these. And you also have the link to go back home. So my recommendation is that you don't animate your work and have somebody have to wait 10 seconds for the art to show up, because you want it to be something that someone can look at right away, and if they want to engage with it, they can, and if they don't, they can click through. What happens is if you make somebody wait too long for something, they become impatient and they just click out of it. So I want you to think all about that usability as you're working. But they have a nice consistency with the design. Okay. All right. So there's a whole bunch that you guys can look through for inspiration. But I also want you guys to spend time, as always, in your sketchbook and sketching out some ideas, doing some thumbnail sketches of how you plan on doing your layout. So how many of you guys are going to do an interactive website style in InDesign? What else are you thinking about doing?
I like the ones that you just, the background doesn't change, just your work.
Yes. That would be an interactive
Okay, yeah.
in InDesign.
That's what I'm trying to think of.
You don't know yet. So your options are interactive in InDesign, which we've all learned the skills to do that with the exercises and with the story with line assignment that's due next week. Then you also have the ability to do a printed portfolio. Okay. But you have to keep into consideration all of the different elements that we're talking about throughout the class. And you have to print it and bind it and think of how that's all going to come together. Okay. Then the third option is to do a WordPress site or to do some other kind of portfolio style, like if you wanted to do like a Flash built site or something like that. So John has offered to give anybody any help with a WordPress site tonight. If you're interested, he had sent a link in the Q&A. Julius, are you going to work with John and have him show you some stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Can you explain what, I don't really know what WordPress is, just like a website you can scroll through?
No, WordPress is just a platform, usually with some sort of templates that allow you to build a fully functional website. It's a content management system, so a lot of times you can make edits and build the site with very minimal coding experience, especially if you use a pre-existing template. Traditionally, WordPress was used for blogging as a blogging platform, but now the templates and the software has become robust enough that it can function just as a website. Let me see if I have an example of.
Yeah, he was saying that's like 75% of
Yeah, that's interesting. So Natalie actually works for a company that's helping us to redesign a website for work. This is a really old one. You're going to see why we need to redo it. Okay, this is a WordPress site. So it's all built. If you come here to the blog, it functions like a blog would. But the whole site is going to be WordPress. And that's same with like the entire redesign of the site as well. So it's really, let's see, what's another one? Anyway, they function just like as a normal website, but it's in a system that allows an average user to be able to build. So John will be able to show you guys how to do that tonight, if you're interested.
Oh, so it's like, it's pretty user friendly compared to creating your own.
It's restrictive.
It's restrictive, and it's also, if you've never played around in it before, you have to, well, having some sort of back-end experience or being able to read a little bit of code or having ever worked in like a CMS system might give you a little bit of an upper hand. So it really depends on how much of a challenge you want to give yourself. So it's really up to you.
Plus, I'll help you.
Plus, John will help you. Okay, So no matter what, when you start, you have to think about and map out all of the different pages that you guys are going to be building. So whether that's a WordPress web page, whether it's a page in InDesign, just like how I was showing you guys the story with wine last week, or whether it's a page in a printed portfolio. Okay, so you're going to need to have consistent standards for each of your pages. So if you're going to have a home page or a cover page, what is that going to look like? A title, an image, some text. Okay. If you're going to do a WordPress site or an interactive portfolio site, are you going to have a header? What kind of graphic is going to go here? How is that going to tie into the rest of the pages on your site? You're going to need to have navigation. You're going to have to create buttons and design buttons that are going to take people to the different pages of your portfolio. And that design is going to have to be consistent across all of your pages as well. Okay? If you do a printed portfolio, you're going to need page numbers. You're going to need a table of contents. You're going to need front and back cover. And you're going to have to think about all of the spreads that are going to take place in your printed portfolio. Have I scared anybody out of not doing printed portfolio? Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to bypass talking about that. So I think it would be, my recommendation to you is to not do one this class unless you're fully confident and interested in doing it. Mm-hmm. You guys are kind of off the heads.
No, I won't do it.
Rachel's like,
I don't know. I won't have time.
Okay, so if you're going to do a site, a WordPress site, or if you're going to do interactive, you have to think about the site architecture then, okay? So you're going to have a home page or a home screen. Okay? Then you're going to have to think about all of the various pages that you want. This is a nice little diagram that will showcase the site architecture, okay? Called a site map. So maybe on your home page, you're going to have a portfolio page. You're going to have an About You page. And maybe you're going to have a contact page. Right? This can all change. Maybe you have portfolio process contact. Okay? Whatever it is. So on this page, what are the different assignments? I believe we have 8 different assignments that we add. You need to add all of your studio assignments to this. So we have the Scribbler assignment. The only assignment that you don't have to put in is the rocket ship if you only did the rocket ship. But if you wanted to do your other animated GIF, you can. So we did Scribbler, then we did digital painting, which was the triptych. Then we did, what else did we do? Abstract, color poster, texture, story with line,
Two-page layout.
two-page layout. What am I missing?
The GIF, if you did a non-rocket ship.
Okay, so we'll have it there. What else?
That's
Is that it? That's everything. Okay. So then you're going to have each of your different, yeah, you have questions?
Yeah, one real quick and easy way to do this is to find something that you like, and then just rip it off.
Yeah. Take inspiration from other sites, and you can take inspiration from the structure as well.
Yeah, also called inspiration.
Inspiration. Borrowing. So then you're going to have all of these different projects, right, included. But then maybe these are individual pages, or maybe this is one page and you click through and you see everything. Okay? If it's all on individual pages, maybe each page includes a separate page of process, which could include your sketches and a little bit of a write-up. Okay? Yada, so on and so forth. So you have to really think about your structure and how you want to set it up. Questions about the site architecture for planning that out? Actually, I should have left that. Okay. So I'm going to quickly show you guys how you can create this look, this idea of like a home page with click-through buttons to get you through other pages and portfolio pages of your site. So I'm going to create a new document, and I'm going to do a horizontal landscape, okay, because I want it to have the feel of a website. We also know that it's going to be viewed on a screen if it's interactive, so you want to make sure it's going to be fitting to your screen. Yes, John? No? Oh, I thought you were.
Oh,
Whenever you're at your, I see, like in the periffs, I see John, and I'm like, what's up?
uh-oh, now what?
All right, so we have our home page. All right, I'm going to open up my, I got to get it in the recorder. There we go. I'm going to open up my pages panel for St. Alice's Layers. Just kidding. Window. Pages. I want to make sure we turn off facing pages, okay? Alright, so we're going to start with the home page, but for the sake of this assignment, maybe I'll give you a couple of pages to work with here. We talked about master pages last week. I'm gonna reopen this because I opened it with facing pages. I'm having my master pages show up with too. There we go. Okay, so we talked about master pages last week. A master page is the page where you would put any elements that aren't going to change throughout your interactive portfolio. So that would probably include trying to dry this out. There we go. Okay, so that would probably include a logo or some sort of consistent graphic. Maybe it's your, letter forms. That's the other one we forgot. Because nobody brought that in except for Ellen and Rochelle. Letter forms. Okay, don't forget that in your list of assignments. So maybe it's your letter form assignment. This is like the logo that you created. Portfolio. All right, what else do we want? We're going to have some sort of navigation on our page, on our master page, because these are the things that are always going to stay. So I'm just going to create a series of boxes here representing some sort of button or menu navigation. And I'm going to put some text in here, and I'm going to say home page. You always want to have a place where somebody can click through. Actually, maybe this logo is our home page button. And then this becomes portfolio. And I'm going to use a shortcut command, Command B. This is your text frame options. I'm going to center the text. I'm going to give it some inset spacing. Hit OK. And then I'm going to use my text tool, and I'm going to center the text that way. And maybe we're going to make this bold and make it all caps. Okay, so then I'm going to duplicate this graphic 2 times. I'm going to move my navigation up here. And then we'll call this one process. And we'll call this one contact. You can color your buttons in different colors. You can keep your navigation consistent. It's really up to you on how you want to handle it. Okay. So I'd say that would probably be the consistent stuff that we want to keep. So if we go to page 1, oh, see, like I wasn't even building it on my master page. I was building it on page 3. So make sure you're building it on your master page. If you're not, you can just Command X, right click, paste in place, and it will paste it exactly in place. So now my navigation and my logo is on every page of the site, right? And I can create these to be buttons, right? So if I go to my master page, double click on it, make sure it's your master page, it will say down here in the corner if you aren't sure. Then you're going to go Window, Interactive, Buttons and Forms, select the graphic that you want to turn into a button, make it a button, name it what it's supposed to be, portfolio, on click, action, and maybe we have it go to page 1, 2, because number 1 is our home page. Okay, so every time you click this button, it's going to take you to page 2. Then for this process button, create a button, name it process, on click, and we're going to have this go to page 3. All right, so I'm going to go back to my pages panel. And on my home page, I want to create some sort of graphic that's going to be representative of my entire portfolio. And it's really going to lead people in. It's going to be interesting. I want you guys to think about all of the things we talked about in class. Composition, color, line, texture. Okay? Make it really engaging and make people want to be interested to click through and see all your work. Then we designated page 2 to be our portfolio page. So one of your options for portfolio is that you can actually create that, like we did with the Calder exercise, where you can do a multi-state object and have it click through to different portfolio pieces. You can do something like that. Or you can have your portfolio take you to a page of links, and each one of those links maybe opens up a different image, or it takes you to a different page. You can set up that structure however you want. So we're going to say Window, Interactive, Object States. I'm going to create a new object state. I'm going to call it Portfolio Pieces. All right. And then I'm going to create another set of buttons to allow you to navigate. So let's do type tool, arrow in there. I'm going to make it big. I'm going to center it. I'm going to do Command B. Opens up my text frame options. We want to adjust our text frame box so then everything is centered in the dead center of the text frame. You can add inset spacing if you want. I'm going to copy that, paste it in here. I'm going to change this to go that direction. Command B, text frame options, and again I'm going to center it in the center of my box. So that's a quick way to create buttons and then have them be nice and centered. So then we're going to turn these into buttons, just like in the Calder assignment, to shuffle through these pseudo portfolio pieces. Where's my button panel? Buttons and forms. Create a button. We're going to name it Next. On click, action. We're going to go to the next state, and we want to make sure that we're selecting our object that we created, which is our portfolio pieces. All right, super simple. Next one. Type, button, go to previous state, make sure the portfolio pieces object is selected. All right. So then we have page 3, which we designated to our process. And maybe this is a write-up that you do about your process. And then maybe you recreate another clickable multi-object state where you actually showcase a bunch of your sketches and you talk about that process, okay? But I want you guys to, I'm showing this to you in a rush because I want you guys to spend a lot of time thinking about the design and feeling like you're confident enough in your ability to make these buttons work that you're not going to get so bogged down in just the functionality, that you actually have an opportunity to make a beautiful portfolio. Think about alignment. Think about structure to your pages. If you're going to have text, make sure your text isn't butting up against your elements, just like how we did in two-page layout. Think about your color use. Think about your texture. If you have a textured background, some students, as you can see from the portfolio examples, they have a beautiful background and they really think about the entire piece, but you want to make sure it's readable and everything is easy to see on there. Here's a good example. Yes, I love it. It's the jams. So using really bold typeface and making a kind of low opacity background underneath the pieces that they pop, making sure that the red graphics are fitting on this dark area of the image, so you have a nice balance and visual interest, but everything is readable and easy to click through. Okay.
Just one quick thing, when you're on the page, you should disable the button and probably gray it out or put a line underneath it to indicate that you're on the page.
You can definitely do that. So if you're on the home page, you make your home page button look gray, or if you're on a certain page for the portfolio, you can do that same thing. All right. So I'm going to make this guy a home page button, and then we're going to kind of look at it and see if it all works. So I'm going to go back to my Pages panel, back to my A master. I'm going to select the logo that I created in 2.5 seconds, and we're going to make this a button, and we're going to have it go to a page, and we want it to go to page 1. Okay, on click. So we're going to preview this. Again, this little icon down here in any of the interactive panels, or you can go Window Preview. Oops, same in my master page. Let's go back here to page 1. I'm going to hit the play button, and I've reminded you guys of this a bazillion times, but when you're in preview and you have a document that has multiple pages, in order to have interactivity to take you to another page, you need to make sure that this button right here is selected. Set preview to document mode. If it's only on this, you're going to be like, it's broken. I can't click through. So once you do that, hit play again so it refreshes. All right, so if we go to portfolio, oh, look at all my pretty stuff. Maybe I go back home, and then if I click on process, it takes me to my process page. Okay. Questions about creating an interactive portfolio?
I have a few questions about some stuff that I looked at, but maybe we can do that.
Let's talk about it now, because I think everyone will probably benefit. Are you talking about like a specific portfolio that you are curious how it's done?
No, it's just, yeah, kind of, I want to do that kind of stuff. It's
Okay.
in carousel there.
Uh-huh.
When you click on the different animals there,
Yes.
it just, like, I wonder how it's done, because it looks like it just, like, pops up.
Pops open?
Over the pages.
So you can create something that will pop up and then hide. And I actually have a video, and there's a button too. There's actually a video that will show you how to do it. And it's the same thing with this map, where you open it up and it pops up. And it's how to reveal or hide objects using the buttons panel. So it's a 5-minute video, so it's pretty quick, and that will show you how to do it. What else? Anything else? This is totally an option too, and I like that you can just skip the intro. So what it's doing is it's showing you a multi-object state with buttons, and then this allows you to, it acts as another button that allows you to hide the object. So you can see in this case, this is their animation, and they made it a link that takes you to YouTube. So that's an option if you wanted to do that. You can do that same thing with Story with Line if it was really intricate.
You can embed the YouTube.
No, you can embed like an MP4.
You can't embed the YouTube.
Not in the interactive, I don't think. But you can embed like some file formats. I can't remember off the top of my head what exactly all of them are, but if you did a quick Google search, and also there's some information about adding movies and sound files here. But yeah. Other questions about interactive portfolio? Who has an idea for like a theme? Can you share it with everybody? Do you want to share it with everybody? You don't have to, but
No, it's okay. I was thinking about doing imaginary.
yeah, I love that. Oh, yeah, that would be great.
I've done a lot of stuff for movies.
Uh-huh.
So I thought
I love that idea. You could do all kinds of really interesting kind of magical,
yeah.
you know, like a all your buttons are like little mushroom shapes or birds or butterflies or little creatures. Yeah. Cool. I think that's fun. What are you thinking?
I was just thinking about this.
Oh.
2 kids and some balloons, and the buttons could be the balloon.
That's cute. I like that idea.
Just
I-
sketching.
I also want to say that I know that you love your travel and you love your travel photography, so that might be something that you want to incorporate. What about you, Giselle?
Vintage.
What?
Vintage. Vintage look.
I love it. You love the vintage look.
That's all my work.
So creative.
Do you want, can we or should we include other work?
No, you don't have to. I do have a lot of students that are interested in including other work because they're proud of how their portfolio turns out and they want to incorporate some other stuff from other classes that they really like. But you don't have to do that. I'm just saying that what you're passionate about and the type of thing that's going to drive the theme for your site, like I want it to be something that is authentic to you. So I know that she loves travel and photography, so maybe that's something that she incorporates into her portfolio look. And then for your WordPress site?
I just want to get like a really modern,
Okay.
nice slider, beautiful page or something.
Okay.
Or you choose this.
A theme to use?
Yeah, like a really clean and modern.
It's called Clean Design.
It's actually called Virtue.
Oh yeah, Virtue. That makes
But
sense.
I like it.
Okay. You know, all of your graphics that you're doing, you can see how people are utilizing like interesting imagery.
Yeah.
So I want you to you're gonna have to really design those pieces because your template is gonna be there, but you really want to make sure that someone's gonna be engaged.
Okay, like mock-ups.
Yeah, if you want to do like a mock-up, whatever it is, and really make your favor shine and really interesting. What about you, Natalie?
I was looking at doing a WordPress site too. I probably do more than that.
Okay.
But I was thinking, not for like a banner, like doing. I'll figure it out.
Okay. Okay. I know you have like that specific style that you go for with your illustration, that kind of really flat gradient, poppy looking stuff. That might be something to consider to
I
have.
feel like it'd be too. I feel like I have to keep my actual template like that simple because if it, like my thing itself is neon, like it would be just like too much to look at.
Yes, exactly. But you can think about how like a banner can be really interesting and engaging,
Yeah.
and you can have the rest of your site really clean and have your navigation really clean.
Yeah.
You guys can also customize all of the link colors and everything to make sure that it's consistent in your color palette.
Yeah.
You can choose a font that you think is going to be representative that actually goes for everybody. You're going to want to make sure that you have a font that is going to match and go with the theme that your portfolio is. You don't want to do a super techy font if you're doing a vintage look. I'm talking to you. Okay, any other questions? I think we're in good shape for those of us who decided to come tonight. All right. So I would really like if everybody could spend a little bit of time tonight, because it's only 6 o'clock, spend at least an hour kind of mapping out some ideas and starting your architecture, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll kind of we'll spend the rest of the night doing stuff. John is going to talk about WordPress, so anybody who's interested in that, I encourage you to gather around him.
Well, I'll do it one-on-one.
You'll do it one-on-one?
They should get their ideas together first.
How many of you are thinking WordPress? 3. Okay. Great. So why don't you two kind of think about, he put a link in the Q&A forum for some steps that you need to do before you talk to him. So do that first. Also think about your theme and all of your projects, and then you can harass John. Okay. Get to work. Let's go. Come on. Time is of the essence. It really is, though, because we don't have class next week. You know what I think we should do, actually? Because we don't have class next week, and then it's Thanksgiving. We don't have class next week. Please don't show up. You'll be sad on Thanksgiving. I think what I should do is actually bump up the time of the portfolio, so then if anybody has any like last minute questions on edits, we can spend like an hour in class, so we can make the portfolios due at 6, and then we'll do our presentations. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. I'll change that right now. You're welcome. Oh, other thing. Check all your grades. Make sure, some of you I put a note in for certain things that said like, hey, like you didn't upload something correctly, fix it. Kelly, your sailboat extra credit was not working. So you want to try to export that again and turn that in. And I also checked to see if I graded your midterm. It was, somebody gave me a link. Somebody gave me a link to something and it wasn't working. So I just want to, I'll go back and look at that.
John, I really uploaded a pen.
Okay,
Can you shoot him an email so that he has that?
yeah. I forget.
Yes, me too.
Are we done with the video?